Hey, thanks for watching at BC Missions. My name's Morgan Hatt, and on this channel, we promote Christian ministries, resources, and opportunities for believers to grow in Christ and to expand the family. Today, I'm excited because I have a special guest with me, Karen Ratchford, and she's here because she is the one who put me onto this book. I had never heard of this, and it's been out for a long time, so I felt a little foolish about that. But it is A Shepherd's Look at Psalms 23, and it is written by a shepherd, right?
That's right.
I'm curious, how did you come across this book for the first time?
Well, my pastor several years ago was preaching through the Psalms, and when he came to Psalm 23, he recommended that we read this book. It's a real shepherd who had real sheep, and he goes even further and talks about how Christ is our shepherd and the sweet things that he does for us as far as caring for us, having compassion, loving us, protecting us from things, and so it's just a great read for me. I've loved it for many years now because of that.
I'd say one of the things when I read through it, it kind of jumped out to me is because I've heard the psalm my whole life. Most people know it pretty well. But for me, chapter 3, it was titled, "He Makes Me Lie Down in Green Pastures." And one of the things I loved about this was, it said, the strange thing about sheep is that because of their very makeup, it is almost impossible for them to be made to lay down unless 4 requirements are met. And I'm only going to talk about the first 2. Owning their timidity, they refuse to lie down unless they are free from all fear, 1. And 2, because of the social behavior within the flock, sheep will not lie down unless they are free from friction with others of their kind. That's something I didn't know about sheep.
Right.
I mean, but it makes perfect sense when you're talking about Christians and
That's
people.
right.
Having not having any fear, being comfortable with the people around you, having a
Right.
huge part of, your peace.
Right.
I loved the fact that he included things about sheep that most of us just don't even know.
Exactly.
We have no idea. But something else about this book that kind of jumped out, and I felt a little bad, because I consider myself an avid reader. This book was actually published in 1970. So, your opinion, why should someone pick this off the shelf now?
Well, if they want to know more about Jesus Christ as our Good Shepherd, and he is, then this is a great book, because the author, who was a real shepherd and he had a real flock of sheep, tells all about how he cared for them and protected them as their shepherd. And then, if that's not enough, he explains and applies that to how Christ does that in the life of his sheep.
Well, this is something I already shared. One of the things that jumped out at me that was really cool to learn about sheep and compare it to us was something that jumped out for you.
I love the idea of a cast sheep, and that is one who has laid down perhaps, in the green grass because he's just enjoying it, and perhaps he rolls over a little too far and his center of gravity is off, and then his legs begin to flail because he's trying to get up and cannot, and so the thing is that he will die if he doesn't get righted up. And so that's where the Good Shepherd comes in, because he's counted his sheep. He knows who's missing, and he goes after that one. And if the sheep is cast, then he's going to go to him and comfort him and speak softly to him and finally get him up on his feet again.
And that
Yes.
so much speaks of our Christian walk.
Absolutely.
Jesus putting us back on our feet again.
Yes, he
where
does.
we would be if he didn't.
That's right.
If you were going to recommend or give this to somebody, what would you say is the difficulty level of this book?
I think it's pretty easy to read. It's, it goes along really nicely. He does get into some detail about the different pests that bother sheep, but it's just good to know that, because, as Christians, we have things that pester us.
Amen. Amen, we do. Yeah. I read it through just as a regular, read just by myself. But you have experience using this as a Bible study, correct?
Right. Yep.
How did you break it down with the ladies that you were studying this with?
I just broke it apart just like the chapters are listed in the book, and it just went really well because they break at just the right spot, and then he explains all that. And
let's see how many chapters there are. looks like 12 chapters. So if you can combine a couple of the chapters to make it a 6-9 week study, or well, I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for sending me onto this book. And so I wanted to share that with everybody. It says over 2 million copies sold, so chances are you might know of this book. I didn't. It was new to me, but still today extremely relevant to know Christ and to really rest in Him, I think, is kind of a overall. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And again, for everybody else that's a shepherd, looks at Psalms 23 by Phillip Keller. Recommend it. Probably order it on Amazon.
Yes.
Probably order it on Amazon. We'll put a link below for you. All right. Thanks for listening. See you later.